right, let's connect it up. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Welcome to January 27, 2019. Here we go. So we're just going to wait to connect. Everybody, we got about a minute early for January 27th, 2019. A live stream coming at you. Go for about an hour. I'm excited to talk to you guys about The Walking Dead. We got some information about the episode that'll air, episode 909 on February 10th. I'm excited for it. Obviously, if you're watching it on the replay, obviously, spoiler warning, people are going to ask questions. I'm excited to just talk about them, and I don't know what people will ask. So if you're worried about spoilers, stop watching now before I get into it on there too. So hopefully we don't have any haters or TTs, like I call them up in here. So hopefully you guys are having a good weekend. It's not getting too cold where you're at. So not sure what you're talking about. Tutor, spoilers free. Definitely not spoilers free, Tutor. I don't know what you're going to ask because people got to ask me questions, and some recent information came out about spoilers, stuff in a video that I just made. So it won't be spoiler free, I'm sure. And like I said, if you're worried about that, then I wouldn't watch. But ultimately, guys, I'm excited to talk about The Walking Dead. Not a lot of news for Fear the Walking Dead. I know they're still filming. Not sure if the weather is coming on with those because it's been cold in a lot of places. It's even cold here in Tampa. I think it's one of those where we got a lot of cold going around through the East Coast and everything for sure. So, no, Tutor, I'm not going to stay away from anything. I'm going to just talk about it. I don't know what you're talking about, but I have some other Q&A stuff that I want to talk about with you guys that I'm going to make a video probably for Monday because I got some stuff to do for today, and I got to finish up. Well, I'm halfway through The Punisher on Netflix, and I'm excited to talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it if you haven't been there. And I think it's kind of crappy that the idea of the Punisher, or the really stuff on YouTube, Netflix, can really just be out for the whole season. So if somebody watches it, then they can just spoil the entire thing, right? It's just kind of crazy. Hold on, we have some just hater, a TT for sure. TT is going to be my nickname for toxic trolls. If you were spewing some hate and some anger and some cursing at me, that ain't going to work. And clearly that person just changed their name so they don't have a life to go on. Why do people do that? I don't understand why people ever do that too. Why does somebody go in there, write something, and just cause problems and just look for a fight? And the problem, it doesn't make sense. You know, it doesn't make sense that I would ever do that. Why would someone just waste their time to come into a live stream and just talk and hate on something, right? So hopefully you guys are checking out the videos. We talked about the idea about the spoilers coming out, and they already came out early on there too. So not sure what's going down for you guys if you read them. What's up, Corey? But I'm excited to see how it goes down for episode 909. It goes down kind of how we thought. Also, the comic stuff versus the show stuff. It's a little different. They're kind of going to do little tweaks and twists and turns and everything there too, because you got to remember some of the crazy things that happen on the show have to happen with characters that aren't on they're not alive in the comic anymore, or they don't exist, like Daryl or Jerry or Tara on there too. So we're exactly 2 weeks away from the return of The Walking Dead. February 10th is going to be awesome, hopefully. We talked about the episode in a previous video that I posted a couple of days ago, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts about that if you want to talk about it. If you don't want to talk about it, that's okay too. But I'm watching The Punisher on Netflix, and Jon Bernthal is playing a great Punisher. He definitely hurt his hand in the first episode, so it's kind of crazy to see how well he did with that. Corey Tubes, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Corey, and anybody else's birthday, you know, for sure. Happy birthday to y'all. But I'm excited to talk about a bunch of things for it. And if you guys are watching The Punisher, don't talk about it too much because I haven't seen it. I haven't watched it all the way through. But it was one of those things that I'm excited for this second season, how it's going. I'm excited for if they're going to do a third season. We just don't know. I don't know if it's going to go somewhere else or what's going to happen with these Marvel shows because of the Disney Plus, subscription-based service that they're going to do. Is that going to happen there with The Punisher on there too? I hope it's pretty interesting. So thank you guys for joining me today, January 27th, The Pro Bowl is happening today, if anybody cares about that, in Orlando, Florida. I'm not sure if it's raining or a crappy day. I know it is a rainy, crappy day here in Tampa, and it's raining, and that's, about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So not sure what the weather's like there, if you're going to watch or not. Are you excited for the Super Bowl in a couple weeks, in 1 week? So, hilarious. These people are so hilarious on here too. It's the same person that's just changing their name and probably has a bunch of things on there too. But I don't get it. I don't know why people would do that. It's just crazy too. So David and Kissimmee, is it raining there? Is that you're gonna watch the Pro Bowl? You're gonna go to the Pro Bowl? I know it starts at 3 or whatever there too. My teams. Let's talk about the Super Bowl a little bit. So I am a Dallas Cowboys fan, and they lost to the Rams, and then the Rams played the Saints, and the Saints got gypped by that penalty, no penalty, bad call, no call, whatever you want to call it. The pass interference that didn't happen. So the Rams are going to the Super Bowl, and the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, that's for sure. So the Patriots are playing the Rams, and I'm not excited about the Patriots being there. I would have loved to see the Chiefs be there, and then either the Rams or the Saints, but I just don't like how the Rams got there because of the bad call and everything there too. But, I'm excited to see how it goes down. I would clearly be rooting for the Rams. I would be rooting for the Saints if they were there too, just because I'm not rooting for the Patriots. And I'm going to have a whole video about Tom Brady and him and everything there too, because people are all about him or they're not. And I'm just going to build the case for Tom Brady, what I truly believe he is in the NFL. But we'll talk about that in another video in a couple of days. So I'm excited to see what happens for the Super Bowl. But like I said, I'm watching The Punisher on Netflix, and I think it's a better season than prior seasons. I'm also watching QB1. That's about high school football players, quarterbacks, and we see a couple players there too. Pretty cool. One's in Georgia, one's in South Carolina, and the other one's in California. And then I haven't really watched too much Walking Dead stuff besides the trailer that came out, and then this came out and all this stuff. They've been putting a lot more stuff out. Hopefully we'll get some more pictures and promo photos, but I think they've done a great job with the promo photos in the trailer so far. We saw Alpha, we saw Beta, we saw Lydia with and without the mask, we saw Beta with the mask, and we saw Alpha kind of without the mask, but also with her mask as well too. So the whispers are great for the show, hopefully, and I hope they're better than the comic version because we can get a little more story on there. And I think they can actually look better on screen than in the comic because Nicotero and KMBFX have been making basically whispers every time they make a walker. You have a person, and this time they have more of a cutout around them without the black makeup around there, so it blends in. And then around the mouth, it's an actual person's mouth too, so we don't have to worry about the nasty teeth and the... But all the walkers kind of have teeth if you think about it too. Like there should be more gaps and holes and jacked up teeth, but you would have some pretty bad mouths in the zombie apocalypse because you couldn't go to the dentist, right? You're not going to have good oral care. You're not going to always be able to brush your teeth. And if you're a whisperer, you're not going to be brushing your teeth. You're not staying in some hotel, right? I mean, the way I see the whisperers, they have a camp, they have area, they have borders, boundaries, but it's basically all outside. They're really nomadic where they're not really taking any spot like a hotel or a school or a prison or somewhere to live, which is kind of crazy because wouldn't you would have to have that, right? If you're living in Virginia, if you're living in DC area, you would want to be inside somewhere when it's hot, when it's cold, when the weather is crappy, when the storms are coming. You would have to get away from the weather, right? For safety, for health reasons. It's just kind of crazy. And then you got some nasty walker skin on your face. Come on. Grapey Dapey, great name. Q&A, why do you think Carl wasn't in the Rick flashback when he got the rebar through his side? Because that is his fam. Well, Grapey, that's the Grapey Dapey, that's a great name. But it's because the people that were seen on that, he was looking for his family. And if he found his family, he probably would have just died. But there he was trying to keep finding them, keep finding him, keep looking for them. And that was Daryl, Michonne, and his non-actual family, like Lori and Carl. I believe Glenn was supposed to be the Sasha part, but Steven Yeun had to film something else, so he couldn't do that. He had obligations somewhere else, so he couldn't film for that. So that's kind of what it was. It wasn't supposed to be about his true family, his marriage family, it's his Walking Dead family. It's his zombie apocalypse family that he was trying to find, like Michonne and everything there too. That's why he found who he found at the time. Shane was kind of like his family and his brother, and that was just kind of a cool connection to that too. So that just kind of was the thing for the show. So that was probably the closest connection to that, but I think it was more of him looking for the people that he needed to protect and help that he could still actually find that were still alive. All the people that there is what the kind of justification was. So Sean Heaton, who's going to be the big star on the Pikes? Well, I can't say for sure who's going to actually be on the Pikes because we don't know. And if any other channel's telling you they don't know, maybe they got some great information, or maybe they're lying, or maybe they're making you want to click on their stuff. But it hasn't been confirmed who's going to be on the Pikes, how many people, and who's going to be on there, who's not. I think Rosita, if she's there, is the biggest one. Maybe Rosita and Father Gabriel switch. I just don't see it being Ezekiel. I just don't see it being exactly like the comics. Because the lineup that was with Negan, that lineup was like the comics, but a little remix. So maybe Ezekiel and Rosita are there, but more likely, I wouldn't think so, based on who was filming and who was there on there too. But it could be there. I just think that it would make sense to mix it up, to change it up a little bit. The show is the show. We've had some major losses on the show this season. Rick's not gone, but he's gone from the show. Maggie's going to be in and out. Jesus is gone. Carl's been gone for a season now. It's just crazy to think that of all the people that we lost, it's trying to mix things up. Carol's there. That's the difference from the comic. Daryl's there. He's not even there. Michonne's a totally different character. She's a stronger, more prominent character on the show than she is in the comic, I would say. Carol's definitely a way better character. Daryl's there too. Rosita, kind of little twists and turns. If you know the information that I shared in the video, you're going to see a big bomb drop happen. Maybe you think it's big. Maybe it's not. And it was really hilarious that I talk about the episode, what potentially could happen, episode 909, in that video of the huge, I captioned with the thumbnail, huge news, spoiler warning, and, have my little PT hidden in there too. But ultimately, I just thought that it was a lot of information, good potential spoilers on there too. And the person was like, yeah, that's not big news. Besides the thing with Rosita, what's so big about it? Well, it's potentially a lot of the episode, a lot of things that could happen there. So that's pretty big news, I would say, right? But you can't win them all, and people are going to complain about everything for sure. So I don't know what to tell that person, but I'm excited to see how it goes down. I have another video that I'm going to make later today, and I'll probably post on Monday, that I'll have a little more of the episode, a little more involvement with Negan, Judith, Michonne, Daryl, Henry, Lydia. It should be awesome. But if you saw a lot of the stuff going around, you know that Jesus is gone. We'll see him in a flashback. But the character of Jesus was kind of lackluster on the show. Kind of sucks because I think the potential would have been there much better for things to happen. So I just think that the Jesus character is going to be replaced by Daryl with a lot of big storylines. They're going to have things, since Rick's not there, Maggie's not there, we're going to have probably Daryl do a lot of those things. I hope Carol gets more of a role like that too, because Carol, I think, needs to be more of a leadership role too. She was this and that, and she was kind of a lead by example kind of thing, but I just hope that she has more. I would like to see her actually dialogue and have a big interaction with Alpha, but I just feel it's going to be Daryl. When in doubt, give it to Daryl. Daryl's going to get all the cool stuff. Daryl's going to fight Beta. Daryl gets a dog. Daryl's got a motorcycle. Daryl's got a crossbow. Daryl has a rocket launcher. But Carol did save them at Terminus. So Carol has done some big moments too, and we need to get back to that too, for sure. So Mike 35, why did they kill Jesus? Well, I think it was more of a Tom Payne thing. Tom Payne was kind of ready to be off the show. He was kind of annoyed with previous seasons. And I was like, but I think the impact of killing Jesus will show us that the Whispers are a real threat. They killed one of, if not the best fighter of the team. because they didn't know they were people in Walker masks. So people were like, they didn't know, Jesus didn't know, that's why he got killed. Well, either way, it worked. It was, get in there, sneak around in the shadows, be camouflaged among the walkers, and that's the whole point of the Whisperers. I wouldn't say the Whisperers are great fighters. I would think the Whisperers are all about hiding in the shadows, camouflage, sneaking up on people, and then using that. It's warfare, It's an interesting way of doing things. Kimberly, how we doing? I'm excited to talk to you guys about some other stuff going around. I got my book series going strong. I'm on chapter 13 of The Edit. I finished a chapter today. I'm going to do a chapter a day for the next couple days, and I'll have to, miss a couple days on there too. But I got, 6 more chapters to do, and then I'll make the Kindle version, and then I'll put it in and send it to them. I'll make sure it's all good, do the final proof, and then it should be out probably by mid-February is the plan. So we're ahead of schedule for it. I'm excited for sure. So Luigi 42. Bri, do you have a beef with Movie Idol? I don't have a beef with anybody. Let me just set the record straight. I don't have a beef with anybody. Life is too short to have a problem with people like that. I don't have a problem with any other YouTuber unless they bring it my way. If they got a problem with me, if they're going to run their mouth, if they're going to talk crap, I'm going to stick up for myself and what we do here. For people to say that my books are ripoffs of The Walking Dead, wrong. It's its own thing. It's a zombie apocalypse. Sure, it's going to have some similarities in kind of the grand scheme of a zombie apocalypse, but it's not a thing with that it's stealing anything from it. It's clearly different because if I stole stuff from there, I would get in trouble legally, and I would never want that to do that. Zombie apocalypse, The Walking Dead is not owned. Robert Kirkman in The Walking Dead does not own the zombie apocalypse. The Walking Dead was before all this. I'm sorry, the zombie apocalypse was before The Walking Dead and even before my books. Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all this crazy stuff was way before that. Some people, the previous movies and all that stuff were super cheesy. They weren't done the best way. Some of the things were stupid. Some of the things were great. They have some things, some twists and turns that were great. Some of the movies were about the zombies more than they were about people. They wanted to, give humanity back to the zombies and what it was, and there was political things behind the zombies. And just look at, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, stuff like that. It's just interesting. But the zombie apocalypse to me is just survival. It could be a plague, a virus, something. It's just staying alive, trying to find your friends, your family, people that make a difference too. Like, also, The Walking Dead is basically about a bunch of people who don't know each other that just form a bond and work together. I would like to think that I would like to follow a story of people that actually care about each other, that actually love each other and have a sense of connection from years and years and years ago. And that's what the story basically is about. It's loosely based about myself, my friends, my family, where I live, Florida, just kind of things like that. It's loosely based. It's science fiction. It's fake. It's fiction. It's fictional. But ultimately, I think there's way more about it being people working together. The Walking Dead, these people are just together by chance to stay together. It's not like Daryl did not know Rick. Rick knew Shane, Lori, and Carl. That's it. Shane was his buddy. Shane was his brother. Shane had a thing for Lori. Lori had a thing for Shane, obviously. Shane and Lori were maybe getting together beforehand, maybe not, probably not, but ultimately there was a thing there. Shane lied and, well, I guess didn't lie. He didn't know that Rick was still alive. Lori kind of jumped in with Shane pretty quickly, I'd say, right? But besides Carl, Lori, and Shane, Rick didn't know anybody else. Shane died pretty quickly. Lori died pretty quickly. And then Carl was left around. So it was kind of a father-son dynamic. We have some of that in the book series of mine as well. But other than that, it's about friends. It's about, basically a happily married guy. Lori and Rick did not have the best marriage. That's for sure, which is kind of crazy too. But it's kind of interesting to do that. And a lot of people that kind of hate in the books are probably not reading the books. If you read it, it was probably interesting for you to keep reading it. And hopefully it was there. Toxic Death Shadow, by the way, will there be a cure? Maybe, maybe not. The whole cure idea is a thing that's interesting to me. Do you want to go that way or not? On the zombie apocalypse story of The Walking Dead, probably not, because Robert Kirkman does not want to do that. But I think the cure aspect could be something there as well. Or maybe all hope is lost, for sure. So, let me see what you guys got. Sorry, just went on my little answer there, Q&A kind of thing. Grapey Dapey. Who's this Grapey Dapey? You're awesome. You're asking some great questions. I just haven't seen you in here before. Hopefully you subscribe and stick around. You're doing some cool stuff. Do you think Negan will still have the lean in the season? I don't know if he has the lean. He's got to have that Lucille. The lean is kind of like his swagger. Does he have his swagger? Does he a changed person? I think he's going to be a different character. Not sure if the lean comes back because he was kind of putting on a show before. And maybe being put in the jail cell put him in his place. So I don't know. The lean can kind of go, and it can go away, I think. Janet, Q&A, Brian, I know you are leaning towards Henry being killed and Ezekiel surviving, but if Henry is Carl 2.0, I just can't understand why they would kill Carl and then kill Henry also. Thoughts? Well, I just go with the idea of Henry being killed and Ezekiel staying alive because of the information about filming and the spoilers from the Spoiling Dead fans and a bunch of people there too. So, also, I want to give a shout out to the Spoiling Dead fans. I do in my videos. I give credit where credit is due because it's important. Now, if you follow people on Instagram and you follow a lot of people on Instagram, you know, people with like facts and stuff like that, and they get information from the Spoiling Dead fans. They don't really give them credit pretty much ever. But it's funny when the spoilers come out and then people post stuff there. The spoilers come out on the Spoiling Dead fans and then they point it. I don't know if they're posting it as themselves or not, but you can really think of it as probably coming from there 9 times out of 10. And it's just kind of crappy that they don't always give that too. So, but my information is from them a lot of times, but also a couple other sources that I have. And just always give credit where credit is due when the people want to know about it, when people want me to do it. Some people don't. Some people don't want me to spill the beans, if you know what I'm saying. But ultimately, if Carl didn't get killed, I think he would still be alive. We wouldn't have so much of the Henry character. But Carl is gone. Henry is supposed to be the 2.0 version of Carl, especially with Lydia, the Whispers going forward, and we're going to see that. I totally agree with you, Janet, that if Henry is supposed to replace Carl, why would Henry be killed off? Well, Henry is not Carl, and Henry is not connected to Rick, and Henry is not going to take over the show. Carl is ultimately probably going to take over the comic, be the future of that comic, when Rick eventually dies, because Kirkman said that everyone's going to die, and that Robert Kirkman said notoriously that Rick Grimes will die. So if Rick dies, who takes over? There's no Daryl there. There's no Carol. There's a Maggie. There's a Carl. There's, some characters that could hopefully lead. Jesus, Aaron, they're still around in the comic. But Carl, I believe, will take over the comic. And I think Henry will get killed off because the future of the show does not rely in Henry. To me, it relies in Judith. Will you ever make crossovers in your book series and the Walking Dead comics? I can't really do that, Patrick, because, again, I can't cross over with the Walking Dead because that's its own universe. My Fight for Us, I kind of spilled the beans in the trailer that it's in the future. It's like way after the Walking Dead kind of stuff. In the book, I do have some little Easter eggs and little things that if you're a fan of the Walking Dead, there's kind of things, especially in one section of it, we talk about relics of things, and it's kind of like a little Easter egg on there too, and it's just a subtle little reference to something that really got my interest going into the writing a book series, and The Walking Dead definitely drew that in there, but I can't legally connect anything that way because I'll get in trouble for copyright and any problems like that, and I definitely do not want to do that by any means. And also, I want my story, my characters, my weapons, my things to be different. They want to be a different story. There's certain things that The Walking Dead does great, and there's certain things that I'm like, come on, man, that's just crap. I want the good parts to stay in my story, and also wanted to do little things there that I think are better versions and better ways to do things in a zombie apocalypse. So I keep what is kind of great, and I also touch on things that can improve for sure. So Josiah Gaines, why did they kill Carl? Well, Carl's death supposedly is for basically to have Rick keep Negan alive and to build for the future because that's what Carl wanted. That's kind of what it was. So not sure what it was in your opinion, but I just think it was far-fetched. I'm not a big fan for that too. So, Gary Page, what is Q&A? Is the time frame the same between Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead? Well, it was before the time jump, before the 2 time jumps. It was supposed to be the same timeline, but I don't know if it's going to be that way now. I think that it would have to be, right? I would think that the Fear the Walking Dead will eventually catch up because we don't want to be waiting on things there too. So yes, Andy Lawson, I have a face, that's for sure. Of course, everybody has a face. But all right, that person's got the wrong channel. Q&A, if Father G gets piked, who gets his comic death? Great question, David. Well, could be Eugene. I don't know. That's got to be done on the show, right? I mean, they kind of hinted at it with the ladder around the sanctuary, but I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that, but hopefully it would be it would be an impactful character, but it depends on how they do it. You have to see who survives the Pike lineup in there too to see who's left, and hopefully they still do it for sure. So, Mark Simmons, One Eye Bride, but your Instagram isn't all about The Walking Dead. Of course, everything is not about The Walking Dead. This channel is not solely about The Walking Dead. My Instagram, my Facebook, everything is not about The Walking Dead. I have a life outside of The Walking Dead. I have my own series that, of course, I want to talk about. I'm excited about that. I have Marvel stuff and information about other stuff, and I got a whole bunch of things like that too. So this is not solely a Walking Dead channel, but this live stream talks mostly about The Walking Dead, and this channel mostly talks about The Walking Dead, of course. You know, it's an entertainment channel. Are you not entertained? So I'm excited to see what happens, what the remixes, the comic twist for the show, for sure. So, excuse me. Jimmy, what would your top weapon be in the apocalypse? It is a katana with a red scabbard and a dragon on the Suba. That's what I actually have in real life, and that's my choice for my top weapon. Shogun Assassin, Shogun. Do you think the broken bridge could be a payoff to use against the giant herd that would be released from the Whispers? I don't know. That's a cool thing. They might come around full circle because, again, we don't have all these bullets and all this stuff, but you would think Eugene goes back to the bullet factory to make more bullets, right? But it could be. They could have got the idea from Rick to blow up the bridge, and they're like, we're going to come back to that. Bing, bada, boom. Whispers coming this way. Let's feed them this way, for sure. But they got to make more bullets, right? Yeah, Brenda, that's for sure. Actually, I have that same information that's in my video that I'm going to make later today. So we'll talk about that in that video with Negan and Judith, and we'll see how it goes around and goes down on the show. But it should be pretty cool. I hope Judith has more and more roles and more parts. I'm excited for her to be on the Walker Stalker cruise with a bunch of characters that are on there. Norman, who plays Daryl, is not going to be on the Walker Stalker cruise, but Judith is going to be there. And she looks to be doing more conventions too. I know there's a London convention. Is there a Germany convention, I would say? But if you get a chance to meet her, I heard nothing but great things, and I'm going to meet her on the cruise, and I'm very, very excited about it. Jay Kane, when do you think we'll find out about the X on Michonne and Daryl? The word is that episode 14 was supposed to be a flashback. So it could be then, it could be before. I think we're going to get multiple flashbacks, is what Angela Kang said. And the multiple flashbacks should be out through the second half of the season. So we'll have multiple flashbacks, so it could be answered, excuse me, at some point for that. So I think at latest episode 14, but hopefully before that. Janet, Q&A. Oh, where'd you go? It just jumped up on me. Where'd it go? There you go. Do you think Negan will team up with anyone to help the group, or will it be a solo mission? I think he's going solo. I think he's going to meet the Whispers. I think that he potentially does the whole Whisperer thing and then goes back to Alexandria to help out, and we'll see what happens there. I'm excited to see if how the comic twists are on the show. I don't think Negan's going to be the same exact character in the comic, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how he changes and hopefully evolves and has a redemption story and redemption arc. And I think Judith has to be involved with that. I think Judith, Negan have to have this connection that Negan helps to save Judith. And then I think he has to do something epic and big, and they have to be like, this is why we kept him alive. live, right? So let's see what you guys got. Some great questions. Grapey Tapey Q&A. Do you think Negan will kill Alpha like in the comics? I don't know. I think Alpha will eventually die. I don't know if they're going to do it exactly that way, but I said this before and I'll say it again. I think it gets remixed by a different character doing that. I think you would want to give that to a bigger character on the show. Unless they want to have that whole redemption story, and that's the ultimate redemption. Negan comes in and cleans house and kills the big bad. Like, yeah. Miles Orvana. Do you think Rick's impalement scene was a nod to season 2 when Daryl was tossed from Nervous Nelly while out looking for Sophia? He did get impaled by an arrow in a similar spot to Rick. That's a great thing. A great point. I do think so. The more that I think about it, the more that I brought it up. I think a couple people have brought it up in here too. So I think it is. I think it has to be, right? Because he was thrown from a horse. Daryl was thrown from a horse. Rick was thrown from a horse. Daryl fell on an arrow, got impaled, got this on the side, just kind of like Rick was bleeding out, but Rick kind of had a flashback of Merle with Daryl. You know, Daryl had a flashback and a connection with Merle, even though Merle was alive, so it was kind of different, but it was the kind of same thing with the whole, you know, hallucinations. I mean, not flashbacks, hallucinations for sure. So, do you ever think Rick will return? Where is he returning? To the TV series? I don't think so. Toad does games. I think that he's just going to be on the show, but he could return to the area in the movies, so I don't think for sure. So, Renee, I think that would be pretty cool if Frankie comes back around, one of Negan's wives, and Negan's like, oh, you still my wife? Or no? And Frankie's like, no, you left. You're out of there. It wasn't binding anyway. So I wonder how it's going to be with Frankie, and if we'll see more of the wives. That'd be pretty cool. I hope so, right? It's kind of a loose end. Just like Sherry is. Do you think this could be the best season so far? Loving Angela Kang, Gary Page. I think so. It could be up there. I don't know if it could be the best or if it will be the best, but it could be top 3. It's going to be hard to beat season 6 for me. It could be one of, I think it could, I don't know if it's going to be better than season 5. I think 6, 5, and 4 are where it's at right now. It could be better than season 4, I think. So, excuse me, I got something in my throat. Boy, do you think Negan will ask Alpha if the carpet matches the drapes? I hope so. I hope Negan brings his demeanor, his rudeness, his over-the-top kind of characterism, just over-the-top acting with or to the Whispers. Because I didn't like it with Rick, because Rick's our guy. You know, Rick's the main person. You don't mess with Rick. Who's this guy Negan messing with Rick? That ain't cool, right? But if Negan brings that to Beta and Alpha and all those weirdos, I think it'd be pretty funny. Mark Simmons, Q&A, Bri, what are the X scars? We just don't know that, Mark. We don't know what the X scars are yet, but it's happened in a messed up way. I don't know. It could be an homage to Rick, and I'm not sure if it's just something connecting them so they don't ever forget. Because, again, Daryl was looking for Rick and Michonne was out there, and so they were the only two that were doing it. So I think it makes more sense that they kind of have this connecting. Oh, damn, where'd you go? Tudor, Q&A, don't you think it's meaningful in terms of writing for a character to cover the most Whisperer moments, since it's the comics had singular random moments without merging? I agree. Well, I think it would be the 3 people that would have the moments. Daryl, Carol, and Michonne, and I hope that you know Daryl is. Definitely. We've already seen Daryl interacting with Alpha, so a lot of big moments are going to happen with Daryl. I personally would like to see it happen with Carol and Daryl having some big moments with them too, especially if they go infiltrate the camp and they go looking for Henry, and Carol is worried about Henry, so Carol is kind of the Rick thing. So I see Maggie's interactions with Alpha going to Daryl and Rick's interactions with Alpha going to Carol. So I think those two are going to happen that way. I think it's going to be between those two. Carol and Daryl have the interactions with the Whisperers, especially with Daryl and Beta. Even though I really wish Jesus got to fight Beta, because Daryl is kind of a scrappy fighter, but I personally like a martial artist being in this world. Spoiler alert, that's going to be a character in my book series. But a martial artist, I think, would be important here because he can take care of himself. And that was clearly Jesus. But Jesus taught Aaron some things. So maybe Aaron knows some stuff and Aaron teaches Daryl, or they work together to do that. I hope Daryl becomes a badass fighter. He's a badass already, but a little better fighter. And I hope that Aaron becomes a badass fighter as well. I hope he becomes kind of the show hybrid, looking like Rick in the comic, but can fight like Jesus, kind of crazy with the gauntlet. Maybe has a Merle hand with a blade on it, That'd be pretty awesome. Who wouldn't want to see that, right? For sure. I'm excited to see how it goes down. I think Angela Kang is doing a great job. She kind of feels like a breath of fresh air. Maybe it's the story, maybe it's the writing, maybe it's the, stuff that's there, the plots, the story arc, the whispers, the time jumps, but I just feel like she's doing a great job. And clearly she's bringing a woman empowerment move for the show. But I'm okay with that. Michonne's my favorite character, so Michonne can be the baddest character on the planet. I love the idea of Judith coming around. I love the character already of it. Carol's always great. Maggie can come back and save the day. Tara, I have no problem if they give Tara a little more storyline. I don't know if I would want her to run Hilltop, exactly just her running things, but clearly she was doing a good job before. If Jesus was the leader and Tara was doing the day-to-day stuff, she can still get it done. I think that Daryl and Tara will help co-lead Hilltop. It makes sense. Alexandria will be run by Michonne, and Carol and Ezekiel will both run the kingdom. And then we'll see what happens with the kingdom towards the end of the season. But I think we'll probably be highlighting Alexandria and Hilltop during the Whisper of War for season 10. And I also want to know if the Saviors will ever be reborn, rebuilt, the Sanctuary will ever be back to what it was. Because is that a thing or not? Irvin Flores, Q&A, if Dwight was a Whisperer and see Negan, do you think Dwight will kill him? I don't think so. I think Dwight kind of, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what it is. I don't think Negan will die by the hands of that. I think Negan's going to be around for a while. And Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan wants Norman, Daryl, and Negan to be best buddies on the show or good friends on the show. I don't know if I'd want to see that. I would want to see them kind of be acquaintances or tolerate each other. Or Daryl tolerates Negan, but Negan kind of likes Daryl. Because I think Negan already likes Daryl to begin with. But how can Daryl like Negan? I just don't want to. I just really won't buy that too much. I just think he's got to tolerate him. His hands are tied to keep him alive. And also, I think he saves Daryl and or Judith. So then you got to keep him around, right? I think is the best way to doing it for sure. So Sheila's late, but I'm glad you're here for sure, everybody. I'm glad you're all here. I'm glad everyone is taking the time to join us. January 27th, 2019. Top chat, super chat, all that stuff. Patreon donations on there too. I think I got the Patreon link in there. I got it right there now. So if anybody wants to donate to the page, to the channel, to everything on there too, we have the PT channel Patreon donation page right there on there too. A simple donation of a couple bucks a month goes a long way. If enough people do that, we can make some big stuff happen on here, and I can get the comics going. I can get the stuff more, have a chance to get it out and about and really send it to people and have it there too, and put more time and effort and energy in there too. Even though I'm doing the best that I can, being a YouTuber, a homeowner, a physical therapist, an author, everything. It's just crazy to think to do all these things, all these different hats. Well, I kind of want to narrow it down a little bit more too, because if you have too much going on, stuff can suffer on there too. You just got to put more effort and emphasis, especially in the editing of the book series. I knew that is tough, and I would love to turn this into a series on there as well. It could be on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or something. Man, that'd be awesome. That's a goal and a dream of mine. Never give up on your goals and dreams, guys. Never do it. Take a break, take a rest, but never give up. You can do big things. That's for sure. And hopefully big things that help the world and help people is a win-win. Alicia 420, anyone think we will see Morgan come back, or is he staying on Fear after time jumps? I think Morgan stays on Fear personally. I don't know if they're ever going to bring him back, but hopefully they ever bring him back, especially because I want to see that reunited point with with Rick, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Sorry, guys. Tudor, you think they killed Jesus because the character got pretty pointless in the comics after Lydia interactions? That's 2014-5, a long time being character backer. Well, I think that Tom Payne was kind of upset about his lack of action sequences, especially when he was supposed to throw a grenade back and beat up Negan and just do a lot more things. And I think it just weighed on him a little bit. And they wanted to kind of have him do a thing in the story that made sense. And I think it makes sense. I personally think it makes sense the way Jesus got killed off. It wasn't like a Carl thing where you're like, oh, he was helping Sadiq and there was walkers and then he got bit on the side and we really didn't see it and it was just this crap and this and that. And Carl should know better. He should know how to handle himself. And it was like 4 walkers and there's 2 of them. Just run away, you know? But Jesus got killed thinking he could just show off and mess around. And the way he swings like that and that Whisperer ducks and then stabs him, it's pretty awesome, man. I have to say, it sucks that Jesus got killed, but it's pretty awesome. I loved it. Well, I didn't love that he got killed, but I do love it for that too. So, Brian Barbie, you believe Sherry is or was with the Whisperers? I don't know. I like the connection because of the infinity sign. And, you know, I know that the whole thing with Alpha's belt is not an infinity sign. It's with the snake and rebirth on there too. But it's pretty much basically the same symbol. I mean, come on. It's not that far different. It's not one's a circle and one's a triangle. I mean, they're pretty close in similarity. Toad, you think... Toad does games. You think The Walking Dead will go on as long as there will be a Judith that's the same age as Carl when he died? Don't know. I hope we get at least 12 seasons of The Walking Dead, so it'll be season 10, 11, 12, and a couple movies and spinoffs on there too. I think we'll be excited for that. I'll be happy with 12 seasons of that. Maybe they take a break and then they come back with a reboot, and we'll see if it happens. But yes, Julia Muse, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Anyone see Money Pit? Remember when Tom Hanks is talking to the guys and the contractor, and he's like, yeah, I'll take 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And he was like, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. You sound like a parrot. 2 weeks. But 2 weeks, and I'm excited. I brought this up on Facebook, and I want to know what you guys think. Who do you think is the best actor of all times? Exactly, Mark, the peeing fountain. I still love Money Pit. Money Pit's one of my favorite Tom Hanks movies, one of my favorite 80s movies for sure. I think that Tom Hanks is, if not one of the top 3 best actors of all times. He's definitely up there. And if you look at his track record, he has so many great movies, and it's tough to beat. It's tough to beat. Tom Hanks, Philadelphia, A League of Their Own, Big, Toy Story movies, like Turner and Hooch, just so many crazy things that you just, Saving Private Ryan, just movies that are coming into my head right now that I'm like, oh man, you know? And even stuff that was later on in his stuff. Forrest Gump, see? It's just crazy. He's just such a great actor. Brad Pitt has some great movies. Leonardo DiCaprio has some good movies, but not that great. Johnny Depp doesn't have nearly as many great movies. Denzel Washington. So I think I love Will Smith. Castaway. See, look, boom, Green Mile. Yeah, just name him for days. It's tough to beat. He could stop acting now. Sully, he could stop acting now. He wouldn't have to do ever again, right? But Denzel Washington, Brad Pitt, Will Smith, and Tom Hanks are my top 4 actors. And I have to put Tom Hanks as number 1. It's hard to beat if you just look at that. He's got this movie, comedy, Bachelor Party, it's just crazy, right? You know? It's just crazy to think about it. And people are like, I like this act. And it's all just a matter of perspective and just your viewpoint. But some people like Andrew Lincoln. I like Andrew Lincoln too, but he's just not been in that many things. I mean, he's just been in Walking Dead and a couple other movies. But Tom Hanks has got that whole comedy, drama, this, Road to Perdition, just so many things that are like, man, it's just so crazy. But it's just interesting on there too. It's tough because I was talking about this with a coworker of mine, and you start checking, just check out IMDb. Oh, Samuel L. Jackson is definitely number 5 on there too. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino are on there as well. But it's just tough. It's just tough to be on there. You know, it's a top 10. You know, favorite actors. It's tough, man. It's tough to think on there. And Bill Murray, of course. You know, Roddy, Woody Harrelson. Just great. Morgan Freeman. Yeah, you know? It's just crazy. But it's like tough to beat, though. Tom Hanks just has so many different things. But, you know, if you go Mafia style, you're going De Niro, Pacino all day. But if you're going all around kind of actors, you know, Tom Hanks and Samuel L. Jackson are tough to beat too. But it's just interesting. It's just a fun kind of conversation to have, your discussion on there. Robin Williams, that's great, Nick. That's a great one to bring up. Robin Williams is definitely up there too. I'd probably take Robin Williams out and Denzel Washington late in there too. So Tom Hanks, Robin Williams, Brad Pitt, Samuel L. Jackson. Man, it's just great. It's just great stuff too. Yeah, Heath Ledger was great. Jim Carrey was funny too. You know, it's just, I don't know. I like different actors for different reasons. You know, Chris Farley was great. But it's just crazy to think of all that stuff. But I know it's a different off topic than The Walking Dead, but, you know, just entertainment for sure. But Zombieland 2, got to talk about that. There was a poster going around. I don't know if it was fan-made, or not. But the original 4 people are coming back. You know, Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, and the other 2. The other 2 people. Zuckerberg guy, I forget his name, blanking on his name, but the Zombieland 2 people are coming back, and it's kind of interesting because I heard Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray are going to be in it. Well, you're like, Bill Murray got shot in the first movie, and you're like, what the heck? How's he coming back? But I think they're going to be caricatures of themselves. Yeah, Abigail Breslin, that's her name. Like, I remembered if you say it, but I won't come into my head. And Jesse Eisenberg, I think is his name, is Columbus. But Sandra Bullock's great, yeah, you know. I like Julia Roberts. I like Sandra Bullock. You know, I love Meryl Streep is great, you know, of course. You know, so many great actresses. If you haven't seen Bird Box, I know it's been out for a while now, but I thought it was good. Some people are hating on it. And there's so many people that are like cynical of stuff, what people like. They're like, I don't like big name actors because everybody likes them. What? I know people like that. That's crazy too. So I'm excited for Game of Thrones. I'll be back April 14th. And I got some more stuff about that. I got a bunch of things going around for information. For sure. Luigi 42, do you watch Jersey Shore? Yep, I watched it. I'm from New Jersey. I've been to the Jersey Shore, you know, countless times. I'm from South Jersey. My wife and I, we went to Seaside Heights and actually saw the house from the outside and the t-shirt shop and all this stuff. And it was cool. It was kind of weird, but I'm more of a Atlantic City, Wildwood kind of guy, Ocean City. I wasn't the biggest fan of Seaside Heights, but Jersey Shore is just like crazy television, and it's just entertaining for sure. So LBI, yeah, you know, that's good. That's a good one. But I love Ocean City, and when I was younger, played in soccer tournaments in Summers Point and stuff over there, and so I've been to a lot of places around there. But you know, Ocean City and AC, of course. Janet Q&A, when do you think the Blizzard will hit final episode or before? I think it'll be probably episode 15 into 16, or the final part when they come across the pikes. It'll be snow on the ground and snow around the town and around there too. So I'm hoping we get a little more of like the snow than it on trees or something like that too. Like, I got to see a frozen walker, right? We got to see a frozen walker. We got to see a frozen walker, and I got to see Michonne, you know, slice into the walker's head, or Jerry with the axe, like boom, right in the walker's head in the ice. I got to see that. Whether it's now or next season or something. Probably wouldn't happen on my series. Well, maybe in later books, but because most of my story takes place in Florida, and we don't get much snow, if any snow in Florida. Maybe the northern part that's bordered with Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama. Maybe that is, but no, I'm not going to get any snow where I'm at, but I want to see that. I know a lot of people want to see that too. So we'll go for about another 10 minutes, guys. Again, thank you guys for joining me. I truly appreciate it for sure. You guys are always the rock stars of this channel, and I'm excited to talk about everything here. Going down. LaFell. Q&A, what do you think about the events happening during the blizzard in episode 16? Well, we're going to get some snow. We're going to get the kingdom kind of falling apart, and the pike lineup, of course, And I don't know. I wonder if the kingdom having to go to Hilltop is because of the fair and the chaos at the fair. What if it happens because the Whispers cause so much turmoil and craziness that they don't feel safe there? That's why people leave the kingdom to go to the Hilltop. Or stuff's breaking down and they can't fix it and they got to go to Hilltop. Because if we're getting snow and a blizzard and bad weather, I would think being inside makes the most sense. And the Hilltop is probably the least effective place for coverage. It's all open besides some trailers and the Barrington house. Alexandria has a bunch of homes. The kingdom is a school. I mean, that's what it should be, right? But we'll see how it goes down. Jeffrey Morrow, Q&A, do you think those bandits at the beginning of The Walking Dead brought the virus? I think that the easy way out is to say that Breaking Bad, the virus is that. It's from the blue meth. But that's what kind of someone asked on the cruise. And I brought that up on a video. You can see the panel for that. But a guy asks Robert Kirkman that question. And he's like, yeah, I'll go with that. I don't think Robert Kirkman ever wants to talk about the initial start of the virus. And he doesn't want to talk about a cure. And he doesn't want to talk about the ending. He wants to leave it open-ended and have you guess about it. And maybe he just doesn't want to go that way of the writing. Or he just doesn't want to talk about it. Q&A Tudor. Since we know that Daryl is always feeling guilty for surviving while others died, you think that he will get the get trapped part with Negan while talking about Glenn and protecting Judith? I don't know where he's going to go with the whole Negan thing, but how could Daryl ever have sympathy for Negan? How could he? He tortured him. He locked him up. He tried to do this. He killed his friends. He did that. He beat him. I just don't think it ever can happen unless Negan saves his life and saves Judith or saves Michonne or does something big during the war or before that. Why are they killing so much main characters this season? I just think they're trying to... I think people also want to be off the show a little bit here and there. The Walking Dead's been going on for going to be 10 seasons now. So 10 seasons is 11 years. It takes usually a year or so before to film it and do that. So some of these cast members have been on there for a long, long time. And some people were trying to do more things and different things on there too. Contract disputes and trying to save money, budget, this, story. Some of it's story driven for sure too. Heart of Nixie. Would walkers seek shelter? I don't think so. The show The Walking Dead gives walkers too much credit. I would think the walkers can't really see. They'll rely on smell and hearing more than vision. They're going to freeze. They don't have to wear clothes, right? I mean, they're not worried about their nerve receptors and pain and frostbite and this and that. So I don't think they're going to be they're like, come on, guys, let's get inside. Oh, get that door open. Oh, I'm cold. I don't think walkers would ever do anything like that. If they did, it would be super cheesy. Just like if you had a zombie baby equals super cheese. Brian, do you think Daryl follows Henry or does Daryl have to find him? I think Daryl goes after Henry. I don't know if it's exactly that way, too, because Henry and Lydia are going to have a connection, and Daryl's going to hear that in episode 909. He's going to hear their conversation. So he's going to kind of see something going on there, too. Henry, wants a girlfriend. He wants Enid, but Enid has Alden, so then he's probably like, ooh, Lydia's kind of cool. Let's see what he's got with Lydia. So then he becomes infatuated with Lydia, and going after Lydia is pretty stupid. That group is weird. She's dressed up as a walker. That's weird. And then you're like, I'm going to leave the safety of Hilltop to go after Lydia, a girl I just met. Well, I guess he's a dumb teenager. And I guess we've all been that age and we're going to do something stupid. But I think Henry goes after Lydia and Daryl goes after him. Maybe he goes to find him or he actually tails him just to see how it goes like that. Q&A, I'm curious about the wing that is missing on Daryl's vest. What do you think? I think he lost his wingman, as in Rick. He's had some tough times and he's got a broken heart are some great theories that I think all can be connected or all the same for sure. So, Deborah Hall, I hope you're feeling better. I hope I can make people laugh and have a good time with it. That's the whole point of this too. I'm trying to have a fun thing and have some fun here and talk about it for sure. But I'm excited to see, how it goes down and have a nice friendly discussion with a lot of people too. So. Cornan Netton 2. What happened to Herschel? I've forgotten. Baby Herschel went with Maggie. I think Maggie would take her baby, Herschel, who's probably older now, close to 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old, with her when she went with Georgie. So, while Herschel got his head chopped off by the governor, baby Herschel should be with his mother, Maggie. You guys in snowy areas, you ever see blue salt on the sidewalks? Makes me think of meth. Breaking Bad. Anyone hear about the Breaking Bad movie news? Is it a prequel? Is it a sequel? Is it going to be about Jesse? Is it going to be about Walter White beforehand? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? I would think it's a sequel, and it's all about Jesse, and there's going to be flashbacks of Walter White, Jane, Jesse's girlfriend that died. I think it's going to make sense that it's a sequel more than a prequel, but I would like to see that. And I don't know when it's going to start filming or not, but I want to see how it goes down. And it would make sense that it's the Jesse show. What do you think? Who do you think will die? Rosita, Gabriel, or Eugene, or 2 or 3 of them? That's a great question, Janet. If I had to pick somebody of those, I would think Rosita. If I had to, or Gabriel. I think Eugene lives on because Father Gabriel can go. He's connected with Rosita, even though Eugene probably loves Rosita and really cares for her. So what do the writers want to do with that? Rosita get killed off. Gabriel get killed off. Eugene probably survives because Robert Kirkman kind of sees himself as Eugene. If he was like, if you could be anybody in the zombie apocalypse, he would be Eugene because he would have other people do the work for him. He would stay alive. And if you're brave and courageous, you're going to be taking risks. And Eugene's basically a coward. And I guess that's what Robert Kirkman said at one of the, I think it was New York Comic Con several years ago. And so I doubt he would kill off a character that he would probably want to be, right? That wouldn't make sense. What if the Night King started the zombie apocalypse? They frozen, but global warming thawed them out, thawed them back out. Well, that's pretty funny, Hector. That's a pretty good question. The two shows aren't connected. A lot of people are trying to make similar connections, like Game of Thrones and Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and Red Wedding and The Fair and The Fair and the Red Wedding. Well, they're two different things, two different shows, but there's walkers and walkers. There's Night Kings and White Walkers and this, and I'm excited to see how it goes down. I just want to see a couple things happening on Game of Thrones when it comes back in April. The one thing that I really want to see is the Hound versus the Mountain. Dragon fire all over the place. I just want to see some crazy stuff go down. And I don't even care who gets the Iron Throne because I don't think that we're going to have a great ending. I think it's going to be a happy ending. Oh, yes, and they all lived happily ever after. Boop, and Sam closes the book. But I just think we're going to have that too. So thank you, Earl Gavinovich. Thank you for the super chat. Always appreciated on there too. Simple little thing like that on here or Patreon or whatever just goes a long way. And I truly appreciate it. Thank you, Earl. But Julia, is it a sure thing? Breaking Bad movie? The latest report I've seen is that the writer of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul is writing a movie. There's been a leaked amount of names that were connected to it. And the actress who played Jane and the actor who played Walter White, Bryan Cranston, were both on that list. Jesse was there in this. So it makes sense that it would be Jesse thinking about the past. So then he would see Walter White and Jane because he's been through so much since then. And I think it would be a great way to continue the story because we have a prequel of Breaking Bad. It's Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, and then a Breaking Bad movie. I think it would be pretty awesome. So, great questions. I want to go for a couple more minutes. I'm going to read a bunch of these questions off, and then I got to call it a day. What if the "you will be a great dad" sentence was about Daryl adopting the Whisperer baby after the war? Great question. Well, Connie is going to go get the baby. Bring her back in the hilltop is what the word is. So there's going to be a Whisperer baby, which I don't know why you just bring that with you around. You should be somewhere safe with that baby. But it's better that the Whisperers give the baby up and Connie runs out and gets the baby, I believe. And who's going to take care of the baby? Could be anybody. Could be Tara. Could be Magna. Could be Yumiko. Could be Connie. Could be Kelly. Could be Daryl. Could be Aaron. Could be Tammy Rose, even though I think some of those people are going to be killed off, but we'll see. Mark Simmons, Q&A. With Eugene so close to D.C., wouldn't he want to explore it a little bit more? I would think so, Mark. That's a great question. Wouldn't you think Eugene would be like, all right, guys, let's do a run into D.C. and check it out? But that's just the writing of Kirkman, man. He doesn't dive into that. And that's what I don't like about the zombie apocalypse of the Walking Dead, and that's what I'd be about, right? That's a great point, Mark. I think that's something that should come up, but I guess his whole point was to just stay alive and stay in the community. Tudor Q&A thoughts on issue 190. We already have another war. Yeah, it's going to be a war at Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is going to be breaking down, burning down. Burn it down! But we'll see how it goes down with Rick, Pamela Milton, and Michonne, especially after the big news there, too. Let's see. Luigi, do you want to see Dog as a puppy in the flashback? That'd be cool. Or maybe, yeah, I guess it'd be kind of funny to see how, I like to kind of see how how Daryl got Dog, you know, if he just found him in an abandoned house or something. Do you think there are good whisperers in their camp just going along? Yeah, I do, J. Kane. I do think that because they talk about it in the comic that they do find the whisperers come around, Alpha and them come around, and they find people that are like, oh, we just joined them because we didn't know what else to do. But the people didn't really buy into the whisper ideas, so they're actually good people, part of the group, for sure. Renee, how much control does Kirkman have over the show, though? He doesn't have that much control over the show, but if I would assume if Robert Kirkman was like, keep him alive, the story of this, he's an executive producer. He's a creator of the show. He's a creator of the comic. He's part of that. He's going to have some control. You got a showrunner, but that's a good question. So do you have Gimple, Kirkman, Angela Kang? So it was like, is it kind of the stagger of power? Because I would think Kirkman's baby is the comic, first and foremost. So that's where he's going to have the most need. And maybe they just make decisions, and maybe Kirkman's like, keep feeding me that money, baby. I don't care. Ka-ching, ka-ching. Maybe that's how it goes down. So I'm not sure how it is exactly, but I'm excited to find out. 2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks. But all right, guys, let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Check out my other videos. Let me know what you think, what you're excited for. I got to call it a day because I got some stuff to do here around the house. You know, I got to do laundry and all that stuff. And then I'm going to watch a couple movies on HBO Go. I want to watch Tag or whatever came out last night. So got to watch that. Punisher, QB1, Bird Box, stuff on Netflix. Check it out. My wife is watching the movie or the show You on Netflix. She likes it. It's kind of like a 50 Shades of Grey kind of craziness, but if you want to check that out, go ahead. But thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends, tell your family. Build this channel up. Get 100,000 subscribers, and then get it going and get it being a part of the big thing here on YouTube. So thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. You can do it. It's about love, support, staying positive, and making memories. Thanks, guys. See ya.